to think about being memorable. I'll tell you, most people are highly forgettable. It's the truth. You probably met some people today and you couldn't even remember the name, let alone anything about them. Why? Same is true of interviews. Same is true of many things. Why? Because this question, I'm always amazed that it's being asked in interviews all the time. Tell us something about yourself. And people go, me? Yes, about you. This is a curveball. Well, you are the only one there, technically. Surely you should be able to tell us something about yourself. So this is what most people do. And if you actually want to know, about 80% of the population then answer that question as a leader, as their person, like this. Here it is very simple. There's impacted experience. 80% of the population ask it as a series of skills. Tell me about yourself. Well, I can tie my shoes. I choose my own socks. I project manage my outfit. I brush my teeth. They have all these skills. I went to this school where I taught me how to, make pies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 80% of the population ask people this question, respond in this way. Now, I'm going to ask you the question back. Name one skill that isn't a commodity, that I could not buy off the street. All skills are commodities. All skills are commodities. They have a price tag on them, don't they? Think about it. What you're doing by describing yourself as a basket of skills is basically a supermarket trolley with all these things in it. And I'm a tin of beans. I'm a loaf of bread. I'm this, that, the other. That's what I am. I'm just a supermarket trolley. And I'm only better than that one filled up with that stuff. So what you're really saying, and why you are forgettable if you use this approach, is that your skills, the net of all of your skills, has a price tag. That's the limit and summit of your talents. If it's only skills. So if you think about it being more dynamic, and by the way, this is about 15% of the population. And then we use the thing about, they'll talk about roles. Roles. Oh, well, in this role, I successfully did all of these things. I tied my shoes, put my own shoes on, walked out the door, and in that role, I went back home again in that role. And the really interesting thing is it's really, really boring. It's boring to the listener. I dare you to listen to that and not tune out, because it's nothing to do with the needs of the listener. It's nothing to do with the needs of the listener to be inspired for them to think about, should they follow you? Should you be the leader they should follow? If you use that technique, you will be forgettable. You're a basket of skills or a series of roles, a regurgitation of your resume. What 5% of people do? 5% of leaders with the clarity of purpose, the clarity of their contribution, is they actually talk about themselves in fundamentally different ways. They talk about themselves not in roles and skills. They talk about it in terms of drivers. I am personally driven by A, B, and C. Interesting. Think about it. Suddenly you know, I'm personally driven to end homelessness. I'm personally driven to develop a digital company. I'm personally driven to X, Y, and Z. And it doesn't matter whether you believe it, you agree with it, or not. It doesn't matter if you don't come from that sector. You'll think, wow, they've got a sense of clarity of where they're going. Now, the cool thing is, with drivers, is you need no experience. Don't you? Do you need experience to be driven by something? If you actually read, someone mentioned earlier Nelson Mandela. At the beginning of his book, Long March to Freedom, he actually says at the very beginning, they're all sitting around a wooden table, and they say, this country's got to change. Okay, where's the app? He actually said, well, I'm personally driven to see that change happen. Did they have experience to do it? No. But they were driven to make that change. And a few humble people turned into a movement that changed the nation. That is drivers. No one talked about skills. Now, above drivers, this is something else. Again, the 2% here. This is the rocket fuel of purpose. They talk about their value. Value. What is the unique value you bring to others? So I believe, you can fill in the blanks, I believe the unique value I bring to an organization is this, this, and this. Remember, that's unique value, not generic value. The unique value I bring to an organization is A, B, and C. Wow. Think about this in your first 30 seconds. I believe the unique value I bring to an organization is A, B, and C. Let me give you a short example of when I've done that, and a role I did do. But now I'll tell you why that's so important. It's because I was personally driven by this. And suddenly you've embraced and encapsulated your inspiration that moves you as a leader. And you are memorable. Memorable. So I ask you this question. What is your unique value? What is your unique value? We all have it. We've all gone to schools and all those crazy things, but there's something about you, the kernel inside of you, which is the differentiator, because that is the differentiator which is the greatest value to others, the true differentiator, not generic things, your differentiator.